Καλησπέρα σας, καλοί φίλοι τηλεθεατές. Να είμαστε και πάλι μαζί για ακόμα μία φορά με την εκπομπή Faces. Με ακόμα ένα καινούργιο πρόσωπο και πάλι και με ακόμα ένα ταξίδι στο παρελθόν για να πάμε να ταξιδέψουμε μαζί με το πρόσωπο αυτό, να βρούμε κάποια πράγματα, να τα σχολιάσουμε, να ακούσουμε, να μάθουμε για αυτό το πρόσωπο. Στην προηγουμένη περίπτωση θα μου επιτρέψετε να μιλήσω στα αγγλικά και να καλωσορίσω τον φιλοξενούμενο μου απόψε. Είναι ο Jay Stapley. Good evening, Jay.
Good evening, Vasilis. How are you?
Welcome to Hellenic TV.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
In our wise, in Greek, kalosorises. Welcome.
Ευχαριστώ.
That's good. That's very good. You're learning. So, you have connections with Greeks, but we go to this a bit later on. Can we go back, to your childhood? And I want you to tell me, remind us and tell us where you born and few things about your, young age.
I was born in the south of England, and I grew up in an area called the Garden of England, which is the county of Kent.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's called the Garden of England because it's full of fruit orchards. It used to be full of hops, where they made the Guinness beer.
Uh-huh.
Cherry trees, apple trees, strawberry fields. It was farmland. It's farmland. And my childhood, a lot of it was spent eating fruit.
That's good.
Which you would start with the early strawberries, and
yes,
then
make you healthier and all this.
I think so. Yeah.
Having healthy childhood, I suppose.
Yeah,
you grow up and you follow all these years.
No, I then when I got into being a rock and roll musician, my diet got worse, I'm afraid. But maybe I had enough when I was a child to strengthen me, and now my diet is better again. But
so you spent your school days in Kent, yes?
Yeah.
Yes. And then went to university?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
Because I discovered the guitar.
Aha.
And
Where was it?
Where was it?
Okay.
My father bought one home. My father used to teach teachers. He played piano and organ,
all right.
and he used to teach teachers, and he wanted to teach them to play guitar, and so he bought 2 or 3 guitars for his college and brought one of them home, and I picked one up one day and went, wow,
yes.
I like this.
Okay.
And then I knew quite early on I wanted to be a musician. My school wanted me to go to university, but I wanted to be a musician.
And you become a guitar, session artist.
That's right. I first joined a band that were gigging 5 or 6 nights a week in Canterbury, which is in the northern part of Kent. And then I moved to London and gradually got into recording session work and touring and the pop music scene as a musician, not as a star, but as a
musician. Yes. Did you have an agent? I mean, you need to have an agent. No, you just know people and they ask you to take part in their.
I lived in a house in Harrow that was full of musicians. And what would happen was the phone would ring and somebody would be looking for a guitarist, and the other guitarist in the house would say, oh no, I can't do it, but Jay maybe he can. And so gigs would start to come like that.
I know.
Word of mouth, really.
Yeah. So in this case, tell us your highlights. With whom did you work, and give us
so many of
some
them.
information.
I guess the first famous artist I worked with was an American called Slim Whitman, who you may remember, who sang great hits like I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen. Then other famous artists I've worked with, I was with Roger Waters after he left the Pink Floyd for 3 or 4 years. I did tours and records with him. Mike Oldfield, Suede. I was the mystery guitarist who finished the Suede album when Bernard Butler left halfway through it. Scott Walker, who was really interesting, really unusual, avant-garde artist. Shakin' Stevens. Loads. One of the other things I did a lot of was advertising music. And I used to do 2 or 3 sessions a day, 5 days a week in Soho doing advertising.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, you're doing recordings or what?
Yes, we were recording, and it was great. It was great training because in the morning you would play reggae, and then in the afternoon you would play heavy rock, and in the evening you would play country and western, whatever the advertising company wanted. So you had to be really quick and get the sound, get the right sound, and play the right style. And even if you didn't know it, you had to pretend that you knew it and get close to it. It was really good training.
That's good. Okay, we'll go to this a bit later on and find out more about it. But I mean, family-wise,
I did not start a family until we were. I was 30 and my wife was a bit younger. No, maybe I was 28. She'll kill me because I haven't got the numbers right. But not till late. No, I mean, when I first moved in London, I couldn't have supported a family. One of the things you have to do to become a professional musician is be utterly dedicated. And I lived in a house in Harlesden that cost me £9 a month. But there was only one room that was habitable.
Yes.
And to keep warm in the winter, I had to go and saw up the trees in the garden. That's how little money I earned. But it was during those years that I made the contacts and learned my trade, really. So it wasn't until later that I could start a family and had enough financial security. Although as a freelance musician, you never have financial security. You never know what's going to happen next.
Okay, but you're married and you have kids.
I'm married. I have 2 wonderful daughters, one of whom also sings and plays the guitar and writes songs, and the other one, the older one, also sings and writes, but she's at university at the moment. She's concentrating on that. My wife was a singer when we met, so
So this is all together in a family.
Yeah.
Okay. You met, I suppose, so many artists, and you work with them, and you work with Greek artists as well.
Yes.
And one of them is a friend of mine, Athina Andreatis. How it come about? I mean, how you met and how you create all this, relationship?
We met because a friend of mine who owns a studio just around the corner from here called me and said, I'm producing a record for this Greek artist. We need guitar. Would you come and play guitar? So I did, and I loved what she did. She's the most wonderful songwriter. She's a lovely singer and a great writer. She writes the most beautiful songs. In pop music, the song is king, right? Artists come and go. The songs live on forever. Yes. We're still singing songs, and our kids are singing songs that were written 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. The song is everything. And she writes wonderful songs. The other thing she did that was brilliant was she always brought lots of food to the studio.
Greek food?
Yeah. And
kebabs and all this
homemade, no, nice stuff. Paklavas and falafels and
taramoussalata,
hummus and tzatziki. And then I understood why she did this when we went to do, because she said, well, great, I've really loved working with you, would you come and do some shows with me in Greece? And the first show I did with her in Greece, her mother met us at the airport with a tray of home-cooked food.
Oh my God.
And that was it. We did not stop eating for 72 hours.
Yes.
When we'd eaten the food, we went to a restaurant.
Yes.
When we'd eaten in the restaurant, we did the show. When we finished doing the show, we went to a restaurant. And it was just wonderful. We ate for 72 hours. Greek food, non-stop.
That's Greek hospitality.
It is, and it was wonderful.
Even if you go out and eat, and they invite you to a house, you have to eat again.
You have to eat again.
Which is
great. I loved it. I did a couple of gigs with her. One in Thessalonica. And one at the Megaro in Athens.
Megaro Musikis.
That's the one.
That's nice.
And I loved it. And if
Yes.
anybody wants to invite me to come and play in Greece, I'm coming.
You go back again,
I'd
yes.
love to.
Is there any chance to meet again with Athena and do
I hope
some more
so.
gigs?
I phone her. We speak occasionally, and I think she's working with a different set of musicians because I think she wanted to move in a different direction and still looking for what's suitable for her. But if she called me, I would be there immediately. I really enjoyed working with her.
Lovely. So, you've been working for how many years doing this as a guitarist, player and, music session?
Well, I'm 53 now, and I became a professional when I was 17. I make that 36 years.
36 years. You make enough money, I suppose, to stop doing that and doing something else now?
Yeah, I still make money out of music. I make it in different ways and different places. The session industry
you're doing...
has changed.
You have a recording studio now?
I have a recording studio and I started a record label.
Okay. Tell us about that, yes?
Well, it's something that I had been avoiding doing. I've always had a recording studio, right from way back in early 1981. I came home from a tour of Europe with a small band and I looked in my diary and it was a massive expanse of nothing. I had nothing in the book, no work. And I got a call the next day from a company who make guitar synthesizers, looking for someone to demonstrate their equipment. And that got me interested in the equipment. And so I started learning about recording equipment. And I've always had a studio. It's not a studio, you can't walk in off the street and hire it. It's for my projects. And I'd always wanted to start a record label because I love making records. It's a fantastic process, making records. And I'd always wanted to start a record label, and I found many reasons not to. And then finally last year, I just went, right, I don't have any reasons not to do this anymore. I've got my studio, I've got some artists, I'm going to do it.
Okay. Are there any times when you get an artist, obviously you're doing it for business and all this kind of thing, and you have to charge them and, this is your job. But are there any times when you find an artist who wants to record and in your opinion, he hasn't got the talent or the quality of what you're looking for, and you're still doing it?
No.
No.
I'm not interested
Very good answer.
in doing music. I don't do music that I don't like because I think music is the language of an Italian friend of mine who runs a restaurant said it to me one day and just stopped me. It stopped me for a day. I thought, why didn't I think of that? He said, music is food for the soul. And I think...
So you don't cook bad music?
Indeed. Well, and you don't use bad ingredients either. And I think what comes out of music is what you put into it. And so if you put good energy into music, you get good music out of it. But if you do it just for bad reasons or just for money, okay, maybe
it's not going to last, is it?
I don't know. It's just not something I want to do. I did quite a bit of it as a session musician. I just did what was required, even though I didn't like the music. And I always tried to take pride in it and do it well. But now that I have a choice about what I do,
that's all right.
I have more choice. I don't,
Exactly.
I only want to do music that I love with people that I think are good.
Yes, you're right. I agree with you 100%. Asking you about that because I know, and you remember when you came to our show, the talent contest, and you were a judge. Did you find it easy to judge them and tell them the truth?
No, I don't. And everybody that sings and plays and writes songs, you've got to remember you're dealing with their dreams, and you cannot be cruel to them. Also, music is not like mathematics. You can't measure it. What I think is good, somebody else may think is bad. Whereas You know, if you ask me to make you a pen that long, that colour, I can say, here it is, look, you can measure it and you can see what colour it is. You can't do that with music. So it's very difficult to judge people, and I don't like doing it. And if I have to do it, I like to be careful that I'm not cruel. Like,
but you tell them the truth, yes? Or help them to get out with a good way or whatever.
I tell them what I think, honestly. I tell them what I see as the truth. It may not be the truth, but it's what I see as the truth.
Good. Is there any dreams that you want to fulfill?
Yeah, I would like to sail my yacht around the South Sea Islands.
Your yacht?
Yeah.
Where
well,
is it
any
at the
yacht
moment?
I'd
You
like
park
to sail.
it outside your house?
I wish, no. I keep it up in North Essex.
Is it true?
What?
So you're going to, you know, I mean...
I'd love to. I'd love to. One of the best holidays my wife and I ever had was sailing a yacht out of Corfu. And we went to Paxos and Antipaxos and a place called Parga on the mainland, and then back across and sailed round the little islands, and it was absolutely beautiful. Some nights you would get into a bay and all the tourists would go home on the ferry, and you would be sitting on your boat in this bay and there's nobody else around. I've not been to Greece enough, but so, I want to go more. I love it so much.
This is a dream you want to fulfill, and you...
Well, if I could sail the South Sea Islands, I'd love to do that. But if I can't do that, I'll go sailing in Greece, yeah.
That's good. Lovely. Tell me about, you know, the new artist. You know, when you met so many artists in the past, you know, musicians, and you met so many artists, you know, like, you know, singers and all this kind of thing. What do you think with the young, new, you know, way of dealing with music and songs?
I think they're the same.
The same?
Underneath, I think they're the same. They have the same motivation. All the artists that I've worked with that have been successful don't do it for the money.
Just doing it.
I've worked with artists, I've worked with artists that have so much money that they could buy their own army, and they're still out there working.
Yes.
Because they're not driven by money, they're driven by the feeling that they have something to say, and that they have the right to say it. And the new young artists are exactly the same, but they face a very different world. They face a very different industry.
Because of the, might be the new, you know, technology, or?
There are many reasons. One reason I think that is not often talked about is that music is everywhere now. When I was a kid, it used to be quite special to hear music. You would wait because there was a new Rolling Stones album out, and you would have to wait to hear it. And you would have to go, right, I've got to sit down at 10 o'clock and listen to the radio because they're playing it. Now,
there's so many.
You walk down the street, go to the shopping centre, there's music. Go to the airport, there's music. There's music on the buses, there's music in the hairdressers, in the banks. There's music everywhere. And so, first of all, it's not regarded as special anymore. And secondly, and this I really, really have problems with, people think that music is something you talk over, and they don't actually listen. And so, as a performer, as an artist, you are capable of weaving a spell. I can transport the listener to places. I can cast a spell over them, but they have to let me do it. And in order to let me do it, they have to shut up and listen. And if I don't do it, fine, carry on talking, but at least give me the chance. At least listen. But there's a generation that thinks that music is something you talk over. The other reasons, I think technology has had a deep influence, but then technology has always influenced music. Once upon a time, somebody discovered that if you bang a piece of bone against a piece of wood, ooh, everybody dances.
That's right.
That was the first piece of technology. Someone then found that if you stretched a bit of animal skin and did that to it, it made a note. More technology. You can't blame the technology. Technology has changed music recently in the same way it's changed music for millennia. So you can't blame technology.
Mm-hmm. So much music around, as you say. Do you listen to music? What kind of music?
Yeah,
do you listen
absolutely. I do. I listen to things that I've always loved. And one of the wonderful things about teaching is that I hear new music. My students tell me about different artists, and my kids tell me about the artists that they're listening to, and sometimes I just have to listen to new artists for research purposes. So yeah, I listen to a lot of new music, and there's some really good stuff out there. You know, music remains the same. Music remains food for the soul and the spirit. Everything around it is changing, but the music remains constant, and you can play. I mean, it always strikes me as amusing if I'm sitting playing the guitar at a wedding. If I play do 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 do, which is a funeral march, as you know, what have I done to that room? The whole room suddenly goes, oh, and thinks about their loved ones that have passed away. I have that much power. Music has that much
Has
power.
the power, yes.
And then I can cheer them up again by playing da da do 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 do. Oh, here comes the bride. Straight away.
Exactly. Yes.
You have so much power. Music has great power.
Yes, definitely.
So the music's not changing. What is around the music is changing.
Okay, what is your advice, first of all, to your daughter? Your daughter is a musician.
Be happy.
Be happy.
Be happy.
How can she be happy?
By
What's
following
the
your
advice
heart.
to be happy?
Following her heart. Be honest to yourself and follow your heart.
Okay, so this is advice you're giving to every young artist?
Everybody, follow your heart. I suppose it was a risk. When I was 16, I had a choice. I could either go to university, and my school told me that I should go to Oxford or Cambridge. I was, they thought I was smart. I could either do that, or I could try and be a musician. And I thought to myself, if I don't try to be a musician, and I get to the age of 40, I will be bitter that I didn't even try. I didn't even find out if I could do it. And I thought, right, I'm going to try. And maybe I will fail and have to go back to school and work in a bank. But I will have tried. And I did. And I'm glad I did. I've had hard times. I'm not rich. I've had some very hard times. And I've had some fantastic times. But I'm
you don't
really
regret
glad.
anything?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I have regrets. We all have regrets, Vasilis. Don't get into that conversation.
What is your regret? Come on, tell me.
No, I have.
You say at the beginning you don't want to get into the argument, but what are your regrets in life?
One of my regrets in life is that I did not pursue my ability to sing earlier. I wish I had stuck at being a singer. I kind of regret that I didn't go to university.
Give us an example of your voice. Come
on. Okay, I'll sing you a song. I'll tell you the story.
And actually, you can play the guitar with your,
Okay, I'll mime.
Mime.
Right, this is the story of how I became a session musician.
All right then.
I came to live in this old town, looking for a start in life. The streets were gritty and the girls were pretty, but I already had me a wife. I lived in a house in Harrow on the hill, full of guys like me. Our girlfriends played for the rent and the food, and we'd sit around the house all day and smoke and play and smoke and play and smoke and play and smoke and play and smoke and play, smoke and play and smoke and play some more. That goes on for many verses.
Good.
I'll play you the whole thing sometime.
Jay Stapley, this is your face, this is your life.
Thank you, Vasilis. It's been a great pleasure.
It's been nice to have you in our show, in Hellenic TV. And before I go, it's a very difficult question. What do you like about Greeks?
There are many things. One of the things I like most about Greeks is that when
the cameraman is Greek as well.
Okay. When you go to Greece, you are aware that these people
are happy.
Are happy, and the reason they're happy is because they say, listen, we invented civilization. We did it centuries before everybody else. It was our idea. We've done it.
We've done it.
You go ahead and do your thing. We're happy.
Jay?
And they're hospitable and they're friendly.
And the food?
And the food is magnificent, and the weather's nice, and the women are beautiful, and the men are handsome.
And you're looking forward to go back and work again?
I'd love to go and play in
Athena?
Greece.
Bravo. That's good. It's
Thank
been
you,
nice
my friend.
Nice to have you here tonight,
Thank you
and I wish you all the best, and you know, to fulfill your dreams if there are any other dreams, and good luck with the studio and all this, and your new label. What do you call it?
Dammit Music, DAMMIT Music, dammitmusic.com.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vasilis.
Κυρίες και κύριοι, ήταν ο Jay Stapley, ακούσατε την ιστορία του, μάθαμε γι' αυτόν πιο πολλά. Ακόμα μία εκπομπή λοιπόν κάπου εδώ, σε αυτό το σημείο τελειώνει. Να σας ευχαριστήσουμε που μείνατε μαζί μας στην εκπομπή Faces, πρόσωπα, και ευχόμαστε να είστε μαζί μας και πάλι την ερχόμενη εβδομάδα με ένα άλλο καινούργιο πρόσωπο. Από εμένα τον Βασίλη Παναγή, καλή νύχτα σας. Good night.